Hi, everybody. It's your host of Freedom to Fight, and Yura Mathis, and I have another exciting guest on my show today. Bracha Goetz is a graduate of Harvard University, studied psychology and medical school, authored 42 spiritual children's books, also published a memoir for adults. So, yeah, I'd love to talk to you about all of that.
Right. What they all have in common, children's books all help children's souls to shine. Spiritual books, they're helping children to learn happiness skills, how to become grateful early on in life. Books about public health, and that relates to my background in loving medicine and loving healthcare and public health. Books like Let's Stay Healthy, books teaching children about learning disabilities, books that help with the prevention of abuse of children. Again, because if they have healthy bodies, that's also a significant part of being able to fully shine. Well, so that's why I'm into the mind-body connection, and that's what mind, body, and soul connection, which is all my interests. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important, that connection. You mentioned that children's physical health allow them to be spiritually healthy as well, have a healthy spiritual connection. And that's imperative. I think that people miss that in therapy, that yes, we're talking about, our everyday lives and, mental illness such as depression or anxiety, something as somewhat tangible. I mean, something more just in our everyday life, that's not related to our spirituality, or we don't think it is. But I do think that some therapists are just not as comfortable going there, talking about God or talking about, what resonates with their clients. But that's what we're doing. We're helping them align with their higher selves, their spirit, their source. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
That changes everything.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm honored to talk to you today because I have such a love for books. I feel like that was kind of like an escape for me as a young kid. I'm a very introverted person, and I just like kind of living in my imagination, and books allow you to do that. It allows you to kind of create a story from the story you're reading. So everybody's viewing that in it from a different perspective, and it just, I don't know. It's just it's one of my favorite pastimes. It's just being alone with the book. So,
Wonderful. I'm an introvert too. And I find that I love podcasts because it's one-on-one. And not only that, but right away we meet someone and we talk about the deepest stuff. And as an introvert, that's what we love, And books is what I loved from childhood. And my favorite thing were children's books, and they're still my favorite thing to read. I just love children's books because I feel like they get a message across in the most simple way possible. That's the essence of what I love to do. Take deep and sometimes complex topics and distill them down to their source so that children can understand the concepts by presenting them in a joyful way. And that's the essence of my being. It's what I love to do in this world. Yeah.
so beautiful, and I'm grateful for you. I think that, I mean, yes, that's for children. That's how we connect with children. But I think it's just what human beings need. We need to be reconnected with our joy and feel and allow ourselves to feel safe in that space. Like you can dance at home and be, you can find joy alone, but it's nice to have spaces in our communities to do that, to reconnect with joy. It definitely influences our mental health, but just our overall health, to do things that we really love.
Yes.
And for me, that's jujitsu. That's martial arts. That's
Yes.
finding joy. Like, we get to play together.
Yes.
We're Brazilian jiu-jitsu is grappling, so it's ground fighting, but you're learning these techniques, these self-defense techniques, to make sure that you know how to protect yourself. But the style of learning is very playful.
Yes.
We're experiencing joy the whole time, in a structured way. But yes,
Wonderful.
just the same, yeah. And I want to share with you one of my favorite children's books. I just can't stop thinking about it now. The Frog and Toad series.
I love them. I love those books. Love
Oh my
them.
goodness. I've always loved frogs and toads. I think because of that book. And people call me weird, but I did learn, for everybody that's listening, that Anura in Italian actually means frog. So my name means frog.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think in science literature too. Yeah, there's versions of. Yeah, so I truly connect with those books. I love the best friends and just all the adventures they would go on. I don't know why I identified so much with the frog, but now it kind of makes sense. My name's
Amazing.
Frog.
Wow.
Let me ask you, really, what motivated you to start writing your first children's book? What was the motivation behind that?
You know, I I I wanted to write the books that I wished I had as a child. I mean, books that explain from the beginning and as early in life as possible the secrets to life, the secrets to happiness. Children can absorb them really early on. And I did find some of that wisdom in some children's books. I just wanted to spread that further, make it clearer, explain all these concepts to children. That's been my goal. And yeah, I feel really grateful for all the children whose lives have been affected and have become adults too. Some of them already, living happier lives because of understanding. And I would say that tucked into every one of my books, no matter the subject, is gratitude. It's about becoming a more grateful person. So that is one concept that's in every single one of my books.
Well, I do want to talk about the concept of gratitude, but I want to ask, first, I've made some attempts to writing. I have a ton of writings and journals filled with because my mom always told me to do that. She told me to always journal, always have things written down, documented. You want to
Amazing.
be able to look back at it. So I've always done it. But how do you write a book? How do you start doing that? How do you make that how do you start that process?
Oh, these books are really short. They're not big books,
Yeah,
not that many
sure.
pages. But so these books don't take long to write. Um, I tell people it takes 20 years and 20 minutes to write a children's book. You carry the idea around with you for years, and then it just takes 20 minutes to write that first draft, to get it down, and then you work on it, you edit it, you get it as good as can possibly be, and then you send it off to the publisher. You don't need to do the illustrations if you're submitting it to a regular traditional publisher. You get the text, the words just as you want them, and then you submit it. I I wrote my first book when I was in Israel. I had a few minutes. I was sitting outside with my young children. I wrote it on loose leaf paper, hand wrote it, put it in an envelope, and mailed it to America. And 6 weeks later, I got back an answer that the book was accepted. So I was like, whoa, this is how you write a children's book. It was
Wow.
like, that's it, I get it.
I
Yeah.
think thank you for sharing that bit that it is. I mean, we just ruminate on the idea. I should that would be really neat if I did this. I can do it that way. And we have all of these ideas, but it only truly matters when we take action.
Yes.
And then it's very rewarding. It's as simple as 20 minutes, you said. Yeah.
Yes. And I want to say this nowadays, you can self publish. So anybody could publish their own book very easily. Um, but here's the thing publishing the book is step one. Then you get to spend the rest of your life letting people know about your book. And and there are endless ways to do it. You can get burnt out so easily trying to sell your book. So that doesn't interest me at all. I want to share the ideas in my book. I'm so excited about sharing all the ideas from my books. And there are infinite number of ways to do it. So only do the things you enjoy. Then you'll never get burnt out and you will have a blast letting people know about your books as long as you want. That's what I do. And that's why I love being on your podcast. I love doing podcasts because it's so one on one and we talk about deep stuff, which I love. And so I could do this forever.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. It's the right creative expression.
Yes.
Expressing myself through speech, in a creative
Yes.
way. And yes, it is something I'm passionate about. But I know a lot of people would argue, well, if I just do the things that I love, then I'll never make money. And, there's always the other aspect of like, how do I support myself? And for me, I do a lot of other work. I mean, I am a practicing trauma therapist. However, doing that kind of on my own, having my own virtual practice means that all of the responsibilities are on me to ensure that I have enough clients. And so when I don't, I'm having to do other jobs to kind of supplement that. So I think the reality is you have to make time for your passions because that's kind of what keeps us going. And then also balance that out with the other responsibilities. I don't know if there's a good way, the best way to do that.
I totally you're right. We can't just be doing what we're passionate about all the time, or can we? Because here's the question. We can make whatever we're doing what we're passionate about. Do you know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
can we can appreciate what we're doing.
The concept of gratitude. Um, so I'd like to talk about that because I feel like um, maybe in the past decade, it's kind of become popularized. It's more trendy to talk about gratitude, but it's a really profound aspect. And I think that I'll share kind of my perspective on it. But yeah, tell me what you believe the importance is around gratitude.
Okay, so what really changed my life, I had like food addictions, eating disordered behavior. Nothing could fill me up. Why did I have to keep stuffing my
Yeah.
face in these uncontrollable binges and then resort to restrictive dieting afterwards to make up for it? It was a horrible way to live and it got worse and worse. And with addictions, like, you're doing it in secret. Nobody knows how you're suffering.
Yeah.
So you just keep you want the pleasure to keep lasting. And food is like a basic thing. It gives you immediate pleasure. And so why not just keep going? If you feel a scarcity of pleasure in your life, if you don't trust the world, you don't trust yourself, then you got to just keep bringing in the pleasure, because otherwise it's too scary a world. That's how it felt for me. The world seemed like a really scary place. I didn't trust it. And it's a coping mechanism to get a sense of control over your own pleasure. And it gets the pleasure to keep lasting if you just keep going. So it's like that with all the addictions. You are trying desperately to fill it with externalities, and it just gets that emptiness even deeper, because it's not a physical hole, it's a spiritual hole. And all that I learned that fills it is gratitude.
Mm.
I finally, when I finally learned what filled the emptiness, that's what I spend the rest of my life doing. Really letting other people know about it. What I learned about is it's an ancient mystical wisdom that many people don't know about, called the pleasure ladder. It has 5 levels, which correspond to our 5 fingers, because it's right in front of us telling us that we have the power to bring pleasure into our lives at any moment. We It's so empowering to recognize that. And how can we bring the pleasure into our life? Through gratitude, through the practice of gratitude. So these 5 levels, they correspond to the 5 levels of the human soul. And the lowest level of the soul is the part that's attached to our bodies. So it's all the sensual pleasures that we experience with our senses. Um, it's the natural healthy food, spending time in beautiful nature, music, movement, like the pleasure that you get from what you're doing. and it could be in dance, swimming, gardening, yoga, whatever the practices. These are natural physical pleasures that we were designed to experience. And when we experience them with gratitude, that's the missing ingredient. Then it fills both our bodies and our souls. It fills us up. So there's 4 more levels to the pleasure ladder,
Sure.
and they're the things you hear about all the time, because we hear that spending time in nature, exercise, eating healthy, these things bring us pleasure. But now we can understand why. These are actual soul pleasures when when we appreciate them with gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it changes your relationship with anything if you can express gratitude for it. So you mentioned like um some sort of reaction to like washing the dishes or sweeping the floor, but I come from a background of like studying and practicing Buddhist philosophy. So that culture means you're putting gratitude in everything that you're doing. So you're being mindful of washing the dishes and
Yes.
showing gratitude for being able to have hot water and soap. And I have the capability of washing the dishes and cleaning them for
Yes.
myself. And so you're really engaged. And I think you can cultivate that relationship with quite literally anything. I mean, anything and everything, because I think that's what we're designed to do. I've got a doggie that I mentioned, Rosie. She's 3.5, and I adopted her when she was just 7 weeks old, but I had cultivated a connection with my friends' dogs. And I realized that that's just like every other relationship I've ever had. Yes, it's with an animal, and no, we can't communicate verbally as I do with a human being. However, of course, we're still parts of nature. We still have
Exactly.
a connection in that way, and I treat my relationship with my dog as like a spiritual relationship. I need to nurture this animal that, I mean, I'm not her first mama. She had a mama, and I'm keeping her with me because that's my choice. It's not really her choice. So
Yes.
I need to give her the best life that I can. And it's by like challenging myself to be in a state of gratitude and love, and um, allow that to direct any sort of disciplinary action that I'm giving, anything that I'm doing. I can't just be frustrated and you're my dog and you have to do what I want. Like, no, that's not how I want to treat a human being or any other relationship. So gratitude needs to be the basis of my relationships.
Exactly. Exactly. Like you said, connection. When we are in those difficult mental states, we feel disconnected. We feel estrangement, alienation. So gratitude creates the connection. It's a bond. It's a bond of connection. It's like a bridge, And it's it's compassion, it's loving kindness because we are giving back in gratitude, we are receiving in gratitude, and it's it's acknowledgement that the world is filled with loving kindness and with intelligent design to create really a world of loving kindness where our whole job here is to experience gratitude, to enjoy it, to linger, to savor the abundance of gifts, because there really is no scarcity. That's the illusion.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no scarcity and there's really no separation. We are each other. We're expressions or reflections of each other. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my lifetime is that, the chaos that I see in my environment exists in me in some way. And
Yes.
to resolve that is to go within and to cultivate a relationship of gratitude, of loving kindness. These are concepts that I do practice. So
Beautiful.
I'm
Beautiful.
I'm grateful, because coming from Texas, I could have been Texas is in the South, I could have gone the traditional path and maybe went to a Baptist church and, had a traditional life and a Texan sense. But I'm very grateful that I was exposed to Eastern philosophies, and just like these concepts resonate with me a lot more, I think, than any other concepts. And it's just something I've always stayed close to. I've always made sure that I come back to that I journal. I practice gratitude by journaling what I'm grateful for, but I also practice gratitude by um like saying what I'm like before I'm eating a meal or drinking some water, or like that's what I start my day with is with gratitude, and I try to end my day with gratitude. So very connected with that concept.
It comes across from you so much. You really exude love. From the first time I saw you, I'm telling you, what I felt coming, I mean, I saw you online, but what I felt coming from the screen was just acceptance and love. So I feel like you're in the perfect profession for anybody experiencing trauma. You are like such a supportive, loving person. So it's really such a pleasure to connect with you.
Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. And I'm glad that I'm affecting you that way. I want to stay as light as possible. I've experienced a lot of trauma. I mean, even just in the making of this show, I've experienced all these crises going on around me. I'm in different environments that I've never been in before, and people respond to me differently. There's not a lot of people that look like me where I'm living now, and that's an obstacle. And in my training, in my martial arts training, I don't know if you know this bit of information. I didn't share it in the beginning, but I meant to. I sustained a concussion in my training,
Oh
and it
my.
hospitalized me. And
Oh
so
my goodness.
I am conveying the message to my audience that martial arts does help to heal trauma. That's what science literature says. And I've found a lot of healing in that. But just like with every relationship, you have to ensure that um, there are there's safety practices, that there's boundaries in place to keep yourself safe and keep other people safe. And when you're recognizing that there's not those safety practices around, then leave. If you're in a relationship where people are infringing on your boundaries or making you feel unsafe, then you should leave. And I think that so what we need to do in approaching martial arts as a healing modality is to also allow it to be um, just a full being on its own. It's got the good and the bad, and the bad can manifest when the wrong people are in power, the wrong people are in your environment. But you get to control that. You can leave that environment and create the right environment for yourself.
Excellent. And I believe the more that we practice gratitude, the more that we're giving ourselves the self-compassion that we need. It doesn't mean that we'll stay in an abusive relationship. I'll find what to be grateful for about it. No, it's not like that. We actually, the more we practice gratitude, we understand how to treat ourselves with loving compassion, and then we can move away. We are empowered to move away from abusive situations, actually. Do you know understand what I'm saying? Like, we
Absolutely.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, because really the issue that I found within myself and my personal experience in abusive relationships, I didn't value myself as a
right,
I didn't
right,
because my reality was just trauma. It's just abuse ever. That's what I grew into. So
right,
my first experiences in the world were just abuse and chaos and
right,
poverty and just all always there was just constant chaos. And so
right,
I just kind of believed that was the reality. I'm going to be treated like this in every relationship.
right.
So kind of tolerate things that are not okay, not tolerable. And so
Yes,
when I developed that relationship with myself of loving kindness, then
yes,
I just stop tolerating those. It's not to anybody's benefit to allow abuse.
yeah,
From the abuser, for the abuser to abuse you is not good for yourself, and it's not good for the abuser to
yeah,
believe that's how we should treat each other. It's not.
yes, yes. So I have this example. This is like we are a soul that's shining. It's always shining. When things like trauma happen, like we put a covering over ourselves to protect ourselves, and then we don't even feel like we're shining anymore. We don't feel it. We don't see that shining part of ourselves. But when someone like you comes and gives support and understanding to a person going through trauma, then you support them and they can gradually learn to take off these coverings and recognize that they've been shining all along. The other thing is to nourish this soul, to nourish this shining part of you. And that's what we do through gratitude. That is how we give ourselves loving kindness. We could do that ourselves. And then if a person needs assistance, they can go to someone like you who understands them and will support them and help them to to see that they've always been shining and that there's infinite resilience because it's a divine spark. It doesn't ever go away. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a beautiful way of expressing I think that, yeah, that is what I do. I'm showing that the person in charge is you, even if you don't feel that way.
Yes.
You're the person doing all the healing, and I'm your guide. I can
Yes.
show you the best way to heal, or the ways that have helped me heal and have helped other people heal. EMDR is something that I've found a lot of healing through, as well as martial arts and dance
Yes.
and creative arts as well. Um, but
Exactly.
but I do find that uh, that a lot of therapists find it uh, a little bit clunky to figure out what their role is in that healing journey. Is I'm being more directive or being more indirective, or how do we really show up for people? And I think it's helpful for anybody that is a mental health professional to be able to share some of their personal stories, some of their personal triumphs. Like, I've been there. I've
Yeah.
experienced some of these things as well. Like, yes, it's amazing that I have a wonderful educational background and clinical experience, and all of that's great. But I think what really truly connects me with my clients and with my audience is that I've been through a lot of these things. I've been through a lot of I know what trauma feels like. I know how it impacts my life. I know that it changes my personality.
Yes.
Makes me feel like I need to be small. And, because I can um, shine some awareness on that, I can say, well, let's do the opposite. Let's make myself be in the light. Let's define that a little bit. I'm pretty rebellious. Like, I don't want anybody or anything to put me in a box. So let me do the opposite of that and try to break through it.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I feel like I should ask just a couple of more questions about spirituality, because so you live in Baltimore now, but you mentioned you also do you live part time in Israel?
Right now, I'm in both places while I'm transitioning to living there full time. Yes.
Okay. So what's the motivation behind relocating there?
I first met my husband there. I became observant of the Torah's guidelines there. I changed my whole life to a life that's guided by spirituality. At that point, I was able to heal from my addictions um, through these teachings about gratitude that entered my life. And I met my husband who was on a similar path. And after living there for a number of years, we came back here. Took help with our parents when they became old. And now that they're no longer with us and our children are grown, my husband and I are returning to where we first began our relationship, and we're returning to our homeland, and it's a spiritual vortex of the world, really. So it's a place where I feel the most alive of all, and I'm really excited to be able to return there now. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Okay, so tell me, what's your mission? What's your intention in moving back to Israel? Will you is there any work that you'll be doing there, or I just want to know more about this journey.
What I do in my work, I can do from any place because, I mean, I give presentations all over about my books. I write my books. And now, after my 40th book was published by traditional publishers, now my children, my youngest children, took over and they are now publishing my books.
Oh, wow.
So it's really beautiful. It's a family mission. We're all involved and they love spreading my messages. So we're all working together, and when I come back, and when I'm there, um, it's just wonderful. So that's how I spend my time, really spreading the ancient mystical teachings and just showing that really we're all connected. Right now, there's a war going on, And it's very sad because really, really, we just wanna be all connected, and we live in this little speck, Israel. It's a really tiny land. It's smaller than the state of New Jersey, and we wanna live in peace with all our neighbors, and I hope that happens, and we really just wanna spread gratitude all over the world and recognize how we're all connected, and we're all connected to the same energy source, the same source, and that source really just wants us all to love each other too. It's really what it's all about. So I hope that that's the way it goes.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I mean, I don't see the purpose behind war. And I mean, I know we've always had it. I know that there's always been wars, and maybe this is how we'll continue to express ourselves, but I hope not. I hope that we're able to come to civil resolutions so that everybody can live in peace and harmony. And
Right.
um, freedom can mean, that I'm free to live and have access to everything I need, but it's not freedom unless everybody else has that same right. And so,
Right.
yeah, I hope that that's where we're headed. And I feel a bit ignorant in asking this question, but I need to ask anyway because I don't know. So, do you identify with the Jewish faith, or I'm sorry, I don't think I know enough
Yeah.
about Israel.
Right. So I was brought up Jewish. I'm born Jewish, but I didn't really know about the wisdom and spirituality in my own culture and heritage. And that's what I finally learned as a young adult. That's what was missing from my life. And that's why, even though I had a really sweet life, I felt like something was missing because there was no acknowledgement that I was a soul in need of spiritual nourishment as much as any other kind of physical nourishment. So once there was the recognition that we're really souls clothed in bodies, that changed my whole perspective. And then I could understand why I had felt this genuine hunger. It's a real hunger. And if we don't get that spiritual nourishment, we're always starving, always empty, never filled up enough. And it's a universal thing that gratitude is what fills us up. And that's really what the Jewish teachings are about. And I know you said that you've learned about them through Eastern religions. We What I learned from my past is that the Jewish teachings actually connected with the Eastern religions and shared many of these very basic beliefs. And this is how it's also the basis for Christianity and Islam, the Jewish religion. And from all of these organized religions and disorganized religions, it's all based on the same premise about gratitude. Yeah.
Hmm, yeah. Oh my goodness, thank you for sharing that. I don't know if it's that I have some underlying fear of exploring. I'm too afraid to ask because I don't know really much about the Jews' faith or religion. So I think that you shared a bit. If there's anything else you want to share, I might ask you questions beyond this interview, but
I thank
yeah,
you. Thank you for being curious and open. It's the most beautiful way to be, and that's the childlike way to be. Oh, I'm going to explain that too. The pleasure ladder, the highest level of all, is the transcendence.
mhm.
It's the state of oneness. It's when we recognize that we're all connected. And it's that state of awe and wonder, like you've just described. You're curious, you're wondering. That's that childlike state. It They say that I read in It's Psychology Today, they did a study recently that when we're in that state of awe and wonder, the most chemicals are produced in the body that fight off diseases. It's the healthiest state to be in. It's the most alive state. So I really love that part of you too, that you're curious and you're asking, and that's what it's all about, that we all are here to learn and grow from each other. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important to be this way. That's why I'm this way. It's because I believe that it's important to express ourselves this way, to not be just like too sure of ourselves. And that doesn't need to not have confidence. You should have confidence in everything that you're doing and thinking, but allow room for growth, because what I
Yeah.
know now I didn't know 10 years ago, and beyond that. And so there's always room to learn new things. There's always room to grow, just to expand ourselves,
Yeah.
um, I don't think human beings are designed to suffer for long periods of time. I mean, we can, but eventually the mental health issues that we suffer from express itself in other ways, of course, in our relationships, but in our bodies. And it
Yes.
just deteriorates our lives. But that's not how I believe we're meant to be. We're meant to be, like you're saying,
Yes.
in our lighter bodies, like um our true nature is love. And so that's
Yeah.
a lighter energy. It's not um constantly stressing out about bills,
Yes.
or worried about things that have happened to us in the past, or how does this person see me, and just constantly just being observant of the chaos. The chaos is there for a reason. We don't
Yes.
have to engage in it. We can actually grow from it. Adversity will force us to grow in exponential ways and reconnect ourselves with our higher selves. So yeah, I love talking about spirituality, and just because, like you're saying, like there isn't any separation. Like we may call our what we believe a different religion, and this is my God, and your God's this God. Like there is one God that connects all of us.
Yes.
And I really do want to express this, that I don't think that it's a mistake that we have all of these expressions of religion. It's all expressions of God. It's
Yes.
all of our different perspectives of what God looks like, but there is an underlying similarity through
Yes.
all of the religions. So it's just one. God's not going to be like, if there's one, religion that's very true, it's like, there's no explanation of why we have so many. Like, God is not going to limit itself. God is everything.
Yes.
So God is all of the religions. God is all of the gods. Yeah.
What I learned is that God was everything. Can everything, what's missing from everything? A relationship, because you're everything. So it's called Simsum in Hebrew. God made the illusion of retraction in order to create us. So there could be relationship as well. We're really all connected. We're all part of the same thing, but there's the illusion of a, of a, of a separation so that we can experience this world in gratitude. What does a parent want for their children? To experience the greatest pleasure possible. That is what the cosmic oneness wants for all of us, to experience the greatest pleasure possible here. And our whole purpose is to experience this with gratitude. So we get lost from that. We have inside of us an inner critic that too is from the cosmic oneness. It's put
Yes.
inside of us on purpose, like you were
Mhm.
saying, to get us to push it off. And every time we push off these barbells, we push it off, we grow stronger. We grow our muscles stronger. Our gratitude muscles get stronger and stronger. every time we push off that inner critic, which came from trauma in our lives, we all develop that,
Yeah.
but we can all push it off. And this is how we get back to, we can, like you said, and we can, there's neuroplasticity. We can redesign our brains to become, to create more gratitude pathways and create more grateful minds.
Yeah, yeah. And the purpose of all of that, just for everybody listening, is so that we are able to get through life's problems, the natural problems that arise in life. We're able to get through those problems easier, with some grace. Like it's
Right.
not the end of the world, or it's not the prison that it feels like.
Prison.
We're in power. We're in control. We have all of what we need inside of ourselves. And
Beautiful.
and when we forget that, we
Yes.
can create a relationship with someone that can remind us, hey, you
Ah,
you are special.
beautiful.
Yeah.
You are perfect for what you are doing. I love it. Just perfect.
Thank
Perfect.
you so much.
You are the
I just
reminder. You are the reminder to anybody suffering from trauma. Just perfect. Perfect. Yes.
Well, thank you. I believe that it's not just my position to tell people, well, this is the best way to heal and go do this and be prescriptive. It's really for me to live this experience. And
Yes.
that's my spiritual journey too. It's what is the phrasing? The phrasing is Christ did it for us, but not instead of us, meaning Christ showed us how to completely relinquish all of our worldly connection and fully trust and connect with God. But we can all do the same thing. It's not just that Christ did it and then that's it. Or any of our spiritual leaders, if it's Buddha or I literally can't think of any others, but I just mean if it's anybody that we're putting in that position, we are them. We all come from that source, and so
We we
yeah,
we all have the ability to climb this ladder, to find heaven on earth. This is what the experience is. It this is the we all can go on any rung of the pleasure ladder at any moment in our lives. This very moment, like you said, being grateful for that we're breathing, that we have arms, that we can see. I, I, I also, people can download the pleasure ladder with the descriptions, a free copy of the chart, and put it on their fridge or their cabinet just as a reminder. We all need reminders throughout the day
yeah,
of all that we have to be grateful for, because we all have an abundance of gifts in our lives this very moment.
yes. So Braca, the ladder, is that something you published or is that something that you just referred to?
This
The
is just
ladder.
this is just a chart that I have. People can download it with much more the information about every rung, all the different levels of pleasure that we could bring into our lives. It's just a chart that people can download from my website. Um, so yeah, like and this is one of my newest books. Don't read this book. It explains to young children how that inner critic operates, how it gets you to focus on what you're missing. It gets you think about what you're lacking. And once you realize that, you can outsmart it by filling up on gratitude, by focusing on all that you're grateful for instead of what you're lacking.
Yeah,
It's you just switch, but you first have to become aware that the inner critic is talking to you and getting you to be miserable. It works on you all day long, and
yeah.
you could get stronger and stronger pushing it off.
so many important things that you just shared, like especially for children to learn this concept that they have control over their mind and they can change their reality. But you
Exactly.
mentioned, yeah, the awareness aspect. So in my spiritual journey, one of the first exercises that I learned. I don't even know how old I was. I was pretty young. I want to say I was in my teens. I was pretty young. Um, the exercise is called the conscious observer, and really, it's just doing that. It's is For a week or so, spend some time being in the observer stance, observing your reality, and not engaging in it. I mean, of course, you're going to talk to people, as you normally do. But anything as far as like conflict or anything that could rope you in and take your focus away from being observant, just release that for a week. Just practice that for a week
Wow.
and
Wow.
see what you're really observing because you aren't that. You are that and you're not that. You're all of the things. You're the director of your life. And so the negative thoughts that you're hearing is something that a lot of people hear. That's something that is you, but is not you. It's something that's there really for you. Once you can observe that that's just its natural function, that's just what it is. Then we can say, well, I'm not that. But I listened to that for a period of time and it made me react in this way. And so if I don't want to have this reaction, or if I do want to have some sort of like, so let me give an example. I'm an introverted person. A lot of my trauma has kind of reinforced me being in isolation. But if I can say, well, the way I should approach my needs is I should take some downtime. I should make sure that I'm replenished, but I should not allow myself to overindulge and just being alone because then I won't create the connections that I need to create. So there just needs to be a balance. My trauma told me it's safe to be alone, but it is also safe to do the opposite, to be with people. So just finding a balance through that observation.
Beautiful.
I'm not all of those thoughts. I'm outside of that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautifully explained. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's taken a long time. be,
Yay!
be gentle with yourself because we're all just
Yes.
on a learning journey. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I do want to share this bit because we're talking about our connection to God. And I can truly say, um, hopefully without crying, just jujitsu has done that for me. I've trained in other martial arts, wrestling and Muay Thai, but jujitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is what I train in the most. And um, I have always felt like there's something there that I'm not getting. There's like some mystical connection that's happening. Like looking at the history of jujitsu, uh, the Gracie family, that is the Brazilian family that really popularized Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm like trying to figure out all these details, but when I just took a little step back and observed, I made the connection. This is a spiritual practice. Jujitsu for me helps to connect with God. So it's me allowing myself to be completely vulnerable because I'm training in a group of people that I may not know. I'm training with men sometimes, so I'm vulnerable in that way. And I'm fairly at the beginning of my training career. So I may not like have all the skills as everybody else. So I'm being vulnerable in all of these aspects. But then also I'm being empowered to use the skills that I do have in real time. So we're learning some of the techniques and then we train with them, we practice them, and then we'll actually put them in live action. So what happens in a real life situation? It's very empowering to know that I can remember something I learned an hour ago at the beginning of class to implement right now, and it's effective. It's immediate. It immediately tells me I'm safe, I'm strong enough, I'm capable. It's just like immediately. that connection. And then the spiritual aspect that I'm getting from it is that I'm safe with these people to practice this. And it's just connecting us with each other. Like we're doing hard stuff together. We're encouraging each other. We're playing together. It's just like this multi-layered experience that really makes me feel connected to God. Yeah.
It's breaking through all the barriers. I see what you're saying. And that's the thing. It's a form of therapy in a different modality. And that's how we get to those parts of ourselves that are very vulnerable.
It's experiential. It's
Yes.
real
Yes.
life experiences,
Yes.
just an
Yes.
immediate effect, yeah. And
Yes.
now I'm learning Brazilian jiu-jitsu from Brazilians. That's just
Wow.
life-changing, yeah, and they're loving and warm, and I'm, like, trying not to cry in class because there's so much love just in that environment. I feel so accepted and seen. I
Oh,
just don't
beautiful.
feel like that in other cases. It just
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah. For everybody that's listening, I just it's this beautiful healing journey that just keeps getting better.
You could see it in you.
And it puts you in really good shape because our training is hard. So, which improves your cognition. It improves your thinking and your mind body connection and just everything. Just so many areas of improvement. So, yeah, I think I'll ask my final question, but before I do that, um, I just want to thank you for sharing your experiences with just eating disorders, having an unhealthy relationship with food, and you generalize that to all addiction, that it's really like trying to fill the void. And I've had experiences with like bad eating habits and me being raised in an environment where I'm learning Buddhist philosophy. Like I've learned fasting throughout my life, but you can have an unhealthy relationship with even your spiritual practices where I'm like restricting my food intake for too long, sort of like starving myself and then overeating and just like not
Yes.
really focused on the relationship with myself. So
Right.
um, I've experienced that. There's a lot of addiction in my family. I mean, generations of my family. I mean, but that's how trauma lives too. It's generational. We're passing down these habits, through our generations, and it is. I just wanted to say that it is. It's a disconnection from our higher selves, and we're just trapped in that pain. It's a cycle. You're trying to really, for me, addiction is trying to find a solution to your pain.
Yes.
And it's not a good solution. It's creating more of a problem.
Beautiful. It's a cry for help. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to, just for everybody that's listening, I don't want to express any criticisms, because if
No.
you're there, I really believe the true source of addiction is through trauma, but it's through shame. It's through that inner critic that you're talking about. It's by beating ourselves down. So our
Yes.
abuser may have done that, but we're just adopting that voice in our head and just reliving that over and over again. And I think the way to break through addiction is, yes, through a gratitude practice, but also to recognize that um, you're deserving of love.
Yeah.
Despite what that inner critic says, you're deserving of all the things that you want in life. And really to not cheat yourself, to ensure that you're nurturing your relationship with yourself, because shame just produces more of addiction, more of the same. Trying to avoid that energy of shame, because it just produces more of the same.
Yes. See, and I feel gratitude is key because, like, the shame comes in. Let's say a person eats 10 cookies and they feel shame. Oh, they just, so then all of a sudden you say, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to be grateful that I didn't have 20 cookies.
Sure.
Changes the whole thing. And you have 20 cookies and you say, I'm going to be grateful I didn't have 250 cookies. You can always be grateful and fight off that inner critic at any point. You can turn the tables. It's going to get you to feel shame and feel down about yourself. And you're going to say, oh, wait a minute. The key is gratitude. I'm not going to feel shame about myself. I'm going to be grateful for this. I'm going to be grateful for that. It gets you out. And in the nitty gritty, it goes with an orange. I love to give the example of an orange. It's so simple. But like, first of all, oranges, all the fruit, they're green. They're camouflaged in with the leaves so that they're protected. We don't see them until they're ready for us. And they become the most vivid color to give us pleasure to see them. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And then we get to smell them. Smells beautiful. And then we open the individually packaged, the sweet juiciness it's kept in for months. And then after we experience the wonderful taste, we're left with these seeds at the end. These seeds become infinite trees, infinite more oranges. It's unbelievable how much love and wisdom is packed into just one orange. And this is just one tiny gift in our lives. We have so many gifts. And the more that we recognize that and experience them and savor them and linger in the pleasure, we are giving ourselves the self-compassion we need no matter what we've been through in the past. We are mothering and fathering ourselves in the way that we're meant to be. And the more we experience that, this is how we overcome. And with help from someone like you, giving the support, helping to remove, these extra layers
Yeah.
that are getting you to forget that you have the most beautiful, a unique life.
I'm grateful for your praise. I've got to make sure that I accept the praise and I'm not, responding in my trauma, phase. It's okay, I'll just hide over here. I really do appreciate your recognition of what I do and your praise. And yeah, it's imperative that we have quality mental health care, people that really can help you heal. And we need more support, everybody. Mental health professionals don't have enough support, and it's hard to do it on your own. But yeah, I got to keep going. I have to keep sharing the message. And
I've enjoyed being with you so much.
same here. It's so wonderful how we connect with each other. I'm over here in Mountain Standard Time in Colorado, and you're in Baltimore. And just to be connected with someone that can educate me on things that I don't know anything about, like that's a blessing. That's a gift, and I'm very grateful for that. So, um, I don't know if there would ever be a chance for us to meet in person, but I would love to meet you in person someday.
Thank you so much. This is all arranged by the cosmic oneness that
Yeah,
loves us. Yes.
yeah. I'm very, very, very fortunate in that way. So, and grateful. Well, I'll ask my last question, Bracha. My show is called Freedom to Find. And my final question is, what does freedom mean to you?
Yeah. Freedom is when your soul is in charge. You're not being led by the desires of your body, the desires of your addiction, the desires of your all the blockages in your life that are preventing you. You're being led by that infinitely loving, infinitely beautiful part of yourself. That's freedom. And again, I just feel the more we practice gratitude in the most simplest ways, would just start with an orange, start with an apple, Start with the tree outside your window. We just keep going. And any moment that you're being grateful is a moment you're not being miserable. Just be grateful for any moment. I have a great quote. What's the difference between a happy life and a miserable one? How grateful you are. That's it. So that's freedom. Freedom is letting your soul shine.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, wow. I didn't consider thinking of freedom in that way, but that is true freedom. Is to truly be connected to your higher self, to your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to label it as, is to fully have that connection, because then you're not really engaged in that pain and focused on that pain and trying to
Yes.
cope with it. You'll realize that you can heal yourself. You have that capacity to heal yourself through that connection. And so, yeah, um, true freedom is being connected with our souls and living our lives that way. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on my show. I'm like, I this was such an experience. Like, I do feel like, yes, you're on the other side of the country, but I feel like we're just right here, we're just
Exactly.
having, right.
Our,
That's beautiful.
our souls are connecting so deeply. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for all the work that you do and connecting with children and connecting with humanity, better spirituality and healing and just everything that you do. I'm so grateful to be connected. And
Me too.
I'm grateful to share this with everybody. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.